by civil engineering MTech students. So I hope in this class all other students are also present. I can see some mechanical engineering students, and I hope some electrical engineering students are also there. So anyone from electrical engineering?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And civil engineering, a couple of
Yes,
more.
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, all right. So So I'm considering this as a first class, and most of the students who attended the last class will see some of the repetition that we discussed in the last class, but we'll also discuss some new things. So there's a first class, so just I'll be taking it like a first class only, okay, of this course. Just I'll introduce the subject. So I'm sharing my screen.
सर
Yes, say.
लॉबी में है एक दो जन.
लॉबी में एक दो जन हैं. So can they join online somehow? लॉबी में मीन्स कहाँ पे? L205
नहीं
के
सर,
पास?
आप एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप ऐसा वो बोल रहे हैं ग्रुप में.
अरे नहीं, मुझे तो आया ही नहीं है. मतलब आई एम नॉट गेटिंग एनी. नो रिक्वेस्ट इज पेंडिंग फ्रॉम माय साइड. उनको बोलो फिर से करें.
ओके.
So as you can see the screen also, so there is no pending request. I just accepted actually a couple of more requests, so हो सकता है उनका आ गया हो. ठीक है. So I think you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, this is your academic calendar, and we are somewhere here. Today is 24th March. Okay, so the class is scheduled on 2 days, Mondays and Wednesdays, from 4:30 to 5:30. So that is the plan. I hope you all have this academic calendar. This is the syllabus of this course. So basically it's written mechanical engineering, but for all the courses, for all the MTech branches, the syllabus is common for this subject. And the course code is HS5001. This course is research methodology. It's a 2 credit course, and there are only 2 lectures per week, no tutorial, no practical. And the contents of this course are like this: introduction to engineering research, so definition, characteristics and types, basic research terminology, qualities of a researcher, research methods versus methodology. So there is a difference between research methods and methodology. So methodology refers to the entire the art of doing research or the entire process of the research activity, but research methods are specific to some experiments or some other ways. So we'll see all these things. Overview of engineering research methods, role of ICT in research, research ethics, intellectual property rights, and scholarly publishing. So IPR issues also we will see. What are the different intellectual property rights and how do you means what are the differences between them. Then the next is research formulation. The next unit is research design and data analysis. The next unit is technical writing. So in research formulation, we will see that how the research is formulated. What are the different ways of formulating the research? What is the need of formulating the research? What is the meaning of this research formulation? So here in some of the terms you may get confused. Actually, it appears that it is copied from the word to this LaTeX. So that's why this FI, wherever FI is there, it is missing. So such as this is definition actually. Okay, so definition and formulating the research problem. So this syllabus is available on website. You can take a look at this later on. So in the research formulation, we will see that how the what is the steps of research formulation, necessity of defining the problem. How do you define the problem? How do you perform the literature review or literature survey? Significance of defining the problem, different sources. How do you identify the gap? Okay, so all these things we will see in a very general term. Okay, so it will not be very specific to any particular course or any particular research problem, but we will definitely see some examples. But the main discussion will be on general terms, because this is a basic course for all the MTech students, and in some universities they run it as a PhD course also, means as a course in the PhD coursework. So it's a common course. As you can see, the code of this course is HS, so it's a humanities department course. So after the research formulation, the third unit is research design and data analysis. So we will see that what are the, so this will be actually a bit interesting. We will see that how do you design the research problem, what are the different steps, and why do we need to design this type of problems, what are the features of a good research design, important concepts relating to research design, observation and facts, laws and theories, okay, all those things. We will also see some of the data analysis. We will see that how do you analyze your data. If you have some experimental data, then how do you analyze the data, particularly in engineering research. Okay, so in most of the focus of this course will be on engineering research. It's not like it is so common that it can, I mean, some of the concepts you can use it for other research also. Other research means research in history or research in arts, but we will focus this on the engineering research. So if you have done some experiments, and then how do you analyze the data, how do you calculate the error, okay, what are the different types of error, how do you collect the data, how do you sample the data, how do you process the data. So in terms of experiments also, and even if you're doing some simulation studies, then in that also we will see that how do you post process the data. So basically the data is the same actually for means it is quite similar, but how do you analyze it, it depends whether you collect it through experiments or you collect it through your simulation studies. So all these things we will see, and in the technical writing we will see that some writing of some of these technical reports and papers and theses and journal papers. Qualities, structure and components of good technical document. Okay, so we will see some uh, uh, if most of you might know about this LaTeX. Okay, it is written as latex, but it is pronounced as LaTeX. So Word, I think everyone might be knowing this MS Word, but this LaTeX is might be new to some of you. So we'll see that how do we write things in LaTeX, how do we add figures and tables, and how do we write equations in LaTeX. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple, and there are lots of online resources are available on this LaTeX. Okay, so different types of different styles of bibliography, referencing and footnotes. So all these things we will see. And the last, actually the oral presentation, planning, software tools, creating and making effective presentation. How do you make your slides look good, and how do you present effectively? What are the qualities of presentation? So all these things we will see. So overall, just by looking at this structure, you can understand that it's a relatively light course, and it is more about learning rather than about learning and practicing rather than about actually solving any problem. So it's not like, it's not a technical course. So we will be focused more on learning activities, that how do you do these things. Okay, so I'll show some of the slides that I showed in the last class also. Okay, so this is a course structure, and this is what I just discussed actually. Okay, so I can see someone wants to join now. So is this problem solved? So someone was trying to join but could not join. Do you have any update on that?
Yes, sir.
Joined, okay. Okay, so this is what I just discussed actually. I discussed that what is this course and what is this course code and what are the contents of this course structure. So there are, you can broadly say that there are 4 units. Okay, introduction, research formulation, research design and data analysis, and last is the technical writing. So in the last class, actually, I discussed this in some more details, but I'll be briefly discussing this again. So what is the difference between a textbook and a research paper? Okay, so basically the difference is that in the textbook, the information that is presented is acquired over several decades. Okay, and the information presented is very systematic, very organized, and the aim of that textbook is that you will learn these things. Okay, you will learn the concepts and ideas that are mentioned in the textbook. Someone wants to join. So I'm saying it again that in the textbook, actually, what you do, you study something which is actually very systematically developed. Okay, and the purpose of a textbook is to learn some new ideas or new concepts. While in research paper, it reports relatively new information. Okay, and it reports very specific information. So the research paper is mainly it is not for learning new things, but it's a kind of an advanced literature that is available, and it's not for learning new concepts or new fundamentals, but it is to see what has been done in, or what is being done in in the recent years on any particular topic. So if you want to see if you want to do research on anything, you study the research papers, and if you have studied some of the research papers, then you may see that some of the good research papers are actually very detailed and they have a lot of information. Okay, but they also have a part which they mostly refer as introduction, but in this introduction actually they cite a number of papers, so they give you a lot of background, which is actually a literature review also. So which gives you the literature review also. Uh, so basically you should have some idea of the topic or the area that you want to study. Okay, so it's means some fundamental understanding of any of the particular topic you should have. Then only you can study the research paper, because research paper will give you some recent information and some new information. While in a textbook, if you don't have some I mean, obviously the course is designed in such a way that you do your class 10th and then 12th, and the undergrad and then postgrad. So obviously if you are studying a textbook of class uh, of your master's class, then it is expected that you have some background of class 10th and 12th and btechs. So that much background is needed. But even if you are just familiar with some of the terms, you can study a textbook. Okay, but if you're just familiar with some terms, then it will be difficult for you to study a research paper. For a research paper, you should have some advanced understanding. The same thing is between the course and research. So a course is designed in a way that the elements of the course are very well defined. So I gave an example of fluid mechanics course. So in the fluid mechanics, you know all the contents of this course, okay, of any course, such as this research methodology course. So initially we have defined all these terms, right, that we will be studying all these things. So this is a course basically. Okay, and if you study all these things, then the objective of this course is done. But in case of research, it's not very well defined, and you have to explore a lot of things on your own. Okay, so that is the difference. The next is PhD and other degree. So other degree, the requirement, so it's again the same thing, that the requirement of any other degree, such as your undergrad degree or your postgrad degree, the requirement is quite well defined. Okay, and the major difference is that they are time bound. Okay, if you keep on studying, then you will have some exams at a particular time, and then you know you will keep on moving in that degree. And once you complete that entire duration, for a btech course you complete 8 semesters, then, and if you pass all the exams, and you will be given the btech degree. Okay, so it's a time bound thing. But phd is actually not a time bound thing, and in different countries the phd is done in different ways. So as I said in the last class also, in European countries, most of the PhDs are quite focused on industrial applications. So if you go to France and Germany, then they will give you some very specific problem, and they will ask you to finish that thing in 3 years or 3.5 years maximum. If you go to Australia or New Zealand also, then they also follow the same thing. But if you're doing research in India, or if you're doing research in the United States, then in that case you may take like 5 years or 6 years or 7 years or 8 years, because a very specific problem is not given to you. Okay, so you have to first identify your problem, then you have to talk to the potential supervisor who should be agree who should agree to take you as a student, and then you have to then you start your research. So basically the problem formulation takes another 1 or 2 years, okay, in India and in USA. So that's why the duration of this course is more, duration of this degree is more. And then the other difference is that you cannot say that your research is over, okay, because research is a continuous process. Okay, you can say that your BTech degree you are done because you know some fundamentals and some basic knowledge, but and you have some basic knowledge. But in case of PhDs, actually you will get a degree somewhere in between your research. Okay, and you have to keep continuing your research if you are in a research profession. So this is a very basic difference that I discussed in the last class. So there's a very famous quote, most of you might have seen it somewhere, that if you know, if we know what we are doing, and then it's not a research, right? So if we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? So that means that in the research, actually you try and fail, okay, and you keep trying, and so it's not like there is no failure in the research, there are just observations in the research. If you are doing some experiments, then it is possible that your intended objective is not meeting. If you want to do some flow experiments, then it is possible that your flow is not going as per your plan. So that means that something is wrong with the way you are doing. Okay, so it's a learning process. Basically the research is a learning process, and you don't know what is the outcome of this. You just keep doing, and you just try, and you learn by trying different things, such as if you are familiar about some of the simulation work. I think most of you might be familiar, such as we do simulation in ANSYS Fluent. Okay, so in any ANSYS software, if you do, so initially you will see that if you don't know anything, then it will be very difficult for you to learn those things, right? But if you keep doing it, then you will understand more and more about that. You will understand that what type of discretization scheme you are applying, what type of boundary conditions you are applying, and how these boundary conditions and this initial conditions and your selection of discretization scheme and your solution methods, how these things are changing your result. Okay, so those things, most of the time you do these things by, you learn these things by doing. Okay, so all these softwares or this computational studies, I say that they are like calculators. Okay, so calculators, the function of a calculator is not to give you any specific output. The output depends on the input. Okay, so in the same way we solve some problems, and we define some conditions, and then we will get some output out of it. So it's not like it all depends on the problem formulation, and it depends on your initial condition and boundary condition and how you are solving that problem. Then you will get some output. So the same thing happens in the calculator also, right? So in calculator you give some input and it gives you some output. So moving to the next slide. So research definition. So actually, if you see the Oxford Dictionary, Advanced Learners Dictionary, then it says that a careful study of a subject, especially in order to discover new facts or information about it. Okay, so it is a careful study of a subject. And what is the objective of this careful study? The objective of this careful study is to discover new facts or information about it. Okay, so this is a research. So that is how it is different from the discovery or invention or innovation. So all these things actually again I discussed in the last class. So for some of you it might be a repetition. So so it says that a careful study of a subject, and what is the purpose of this careful study? The purpose of this careful study is to discover new facts or information about it. Okay, most of the time actually you do this kind of research and you do any experiment and you see that something is happening and something is somehow working, but you don't know that why it is working, or uh, you don't have sufficient theoretical background to explain that phenomena particularly. So in that case, you do those experiments again and again and see that how things are behaving, and how you can explain actually those things. So it is done in research to do, conduct, undertake, and all these things are actually there. So I can explain these things, but I think these are quite obvious. Okay, so in the last class, I discussed this slide also, that what is the difference between creativity, invention, and innovation, and discovery and research. So basically, creativity is something where you are just turning the new and imaginative ideas into reality. Okay, so creativity means you are just creative and you are just thinking out of the box in some ways. Okay, discovery is something which means that something is already there, and you didn't know about it, but somehow you came to know that, oh, this is also there. So in for example, if we find some new species of a bird or an any animal or any sea creature, then we say that we discovered a new species of bird or a species of a particular animal. So we say that we discovered a new species. We don't say that we created a new species or we invented a new species, right? So we say we discovered. So discovery means which is already there, and then you just came to know about it, or you just found it. It's already there. Invention is something which is actually, if you are creating a new idea or a new concept, then that is called the invention. In the initial days of civilization, some of the very nice inventions were made, and those inventions actually changed the lives of the mankind. So one very common invention is the invention of a wheel. Okay, so it was not like that the wheel was existing. I mean, it may exist in some form, but the wheel was actually invented. Okay, it was not discovered. And so that is the invention. But nowadays actually a lot of things are happening, and because of the awareness of this IPR issues, lots of inventions are there which are quite detailed, and if you want to understand some invention, then you have to have a lot of background of that particular thing. So nowadays the inventions are not that common. Okay, or not that it's difficult to invent something very new, which is which has not been thought of before. So nowadays the things are invented on some very specific areas of means in the all the areas, but on some very specific directions, uh, such as in your mobile devices. So nowadays the things are focused on this. How do you, so you are making your mobile device smaller and smaller, but the problem is with this cooling issues or with other issues. How do you accommodate the entire circuit in that small chip with more capacity? Everything is becoming smaller. So new and new things are being invented. So it's more like a you know advancement of the existing thing. So that is the invention. You create some new idea or the concept. Innovation is something where you are using this concept of this invention, and you are making it into the moving in the direction of the commercial success. Okay, or widespread use. So that is the innovation. So such as wheel, when the wheel was invented, then innovation could be a vehicle, okay, or a bicycle basically. So you developed a bicycle which was using these two wheels, and then you can see that you know you you have made a commercial success out of it. And then number of other components and other machines and other things, other vehicles, two wheelers and four wheelers and trucks, and these things are developed. So in a lot of, so it's not just about the wheel, but it is about any rotary component that can be utilized. In fact, all our IC engines are basically based on this rotation, the internal combustion engines of all the vehicles. Okay, so that is an innovation. So innovation is to turn the new idea or the new concept into commercial success. So I hope you have some understanding of these terms. Okay, so this is something that I discussed in the last class. Basically, for this evaluation work, actually, there will be 30 marks for your presentation, 30 marks for your mid-semester exam, and 40 marks for your end semester exam. And we will see that how we need to conduct these things. Maybe we can make some changes in this also. So this is something that I'll be discussing later. Okay, so introduction to research. So what is a research? So actually there are a number of ways in which you define the research. So one thing is, uh, all these definitions are actually the definitions of research. So research in common parlance refers to a search of knowledge. So common parlance means in common language, it refers to the search of knowledge or search for knowledge. So search for knowledge means you are just trying to understand any concept or any idea or any phenomena in some more details, and you want to understand it in a better and better way. So you want to take a look at the same thing in different ways, and that's why there is a research community. Maybe I can think of something uh, in some ways, but you can think of something of the same thing in some different ways, right? So that's why we should actually interact if we are doing research in the same field, just to have some different aspect or different perspective of the same thing. So research is a scientific and systematic search for relevant information on a specific topic. Okay, so this is actually a good definition of this research. So it is a very systematic search for relevant information on a specific topic. Okay, so that means first thing is that you should have a topic on which you want to do the research. Then you should have some idea that what you want to do with on that topic. You should have some relevant information. Means what you want to do with that topic or with that particular experiment or simulation. And then you search for the relevant information, that why the things are happening, how the things are happening, uh, and explain those things in some more details. It can be a simple observation, it can be backed by a theoretical model, it can be it can be uh, and it can be explained by an empirical relation. So all those things are possible. In a very simple term, you can say that it is an art of scientific investigation. Okay, so whenever I say that it is an art, okay, so if for any art actually you need to learn. Okay, so it's an art of scientific investigation. So scientific investigation, any type of scientific investigation, you have to learn. And if I say any art or any learning activity, then that actually takes a lot of time. Okay, such as if you want to learn something, if you want to one second, I'm just okay, so if you want to learn something, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to learn something, then actually it takes a lot of time. So for example, and any art actually it takes a lot of time. And when I say art, it's not the literal meaning of art, but it is anything that you want to learn. So if you want to for example, if you want to learn driving, okay, then it'll be difficult to learn driving just by watching the YouTube videos, or just by looking at someone, or just by playing on your mobile or computer, right? Unless you sit on the driver's seat, it'll be you cannot do it actually. So that is an art, and that takes a lot of time. For example, if you want to learn to play any instrument, then that is also an art. So that will also take a lot of time. If I just give you a guitar and you don't know anything about it, then you cannot actually do anything with that guitar. And even if you learn it over a month or over 2 months, then you will slowly understand that particular thing. And the same thing happens with the driving, or the same thing happens with the swimming. Okay, so if you just watch a lot of tutorials on YouTube, you cannot swim actually, right? So you have to jump in the swimming pool, and then you have to learn the skills of swimming. Even if you go for 2 months or 3 months of swimming classes, it is possible that you could not swim. So any art you have to learn. So all these learning things will take a lot of time, and the research is actually the art of scientific investigation. That how do you investigate anything scientifically? I have seen some of the very good researchers who can understand a particular paper or a particular question in in a few minutes. And for us, for me especially, I struggle with the same papers for over months, over a month or over 2 months, right? And they can understand that thing in 5 minutes. So because they have a that much background, or they have that much scientific information or scientific knowledge, that they can understand that concept in a relatively shorter period of time. So it's an art of scientific investigation, and you have to, if you want to be good at it, then you have to jump on it, and you have to actually invest a lot of time. For example, if you want to learn any software, you cannot simply learn it, or coding, you cannot learn in a day or in 2 days. Okay, you can learn some very basic modules, or if you want to learn any language, any new language, then again it takes a lot of time. So all these things actually take a lot of time. So research is an original contribution to the existing stock of knowledge, making for its advancement. Okay, so this simply means that just by looking the same thing in a different way or in different aspect, you can uh, contribute, you can introduce some more information to the existing knowledge, and you can help the future researchers that you know uh, these are the things, new things that I observed in one of the universities. I don't remember the name. Some thesis was submitted on field experiments, and it said that the thesis said that these are the uh, 30 ways in which this experiment will not work. Okay, and it was granted actually. So it was granted a PhD, that he did try different methods, and he said that all these methods are not working, right? So that is also, you are supplying information to the existing stock of knowledge. So it's a search for knowledge through objective and systematic method of finding solution to a problem. Okay, so this is the same thing, and it is a systematic approach concerning generalization and formulation of a theory. So with all these information, so with all these different definitions, actually you can see that one term is very common in this, in most of these thing. It is written that systematic. Okay, it is a very systematic thing. So all these basically research activities should be very systematic, then only you will have some output. Because once you jump on it, and if you are not systematic means if you are not following a standard process, or if you are not managing your documents, then it will not take much time to lose the track. Okay, so it has to be very systematic. So in this course, actually, we will be seeing that how do you systematically perform the research. So I found this figure somewhere in this. This is a website. So what is research? So first you define the problem, then you do the characteristics of that particular problem. You do a characteristic analysis, that what are the different components and different factors of that. Then you do a quantitative research. Okay, quantitative research, that means you study a number of papers, you study you do the literature review, and you try and see that in what areas you want to expand. Okay, what are the size of your this problem, basically what are the different ways in which you do. So you study 60 or 100 papers, okay, on any particular problem, and then you move to the qualitative research. So qualitative research means out of these 100 papers, actually you narrow down yourself to say 10 or 15 papers which are very relevant to your work. Okay, and then out of these 10 to 15 papers, you study them thoroughly, you try and understand all the processes, all the methods that are involved or reported in that literature. So you do all these things, and then you actually you perform experiments and do the data analysis. So the next step here, it is written examples. But basically all this qualitative research is it includes your the 10 to 15 papers and your data analysis and everything, and your post processing also, means as per this figure. But the thing, it should be actually, it should be quantitative research and qualitative research, and then you report your results in the form of some examples, and you know add some information to the existing research community. So what is research methodology? So research methodology is a way to systematically solve a research problem. Okay, again you can see this term is systematically solve a research problem, and it is the science of studying how research is done scientifically. Okay, so we will see some of this terms, that how the research is done scientifically. It is a procedure by which the researchers go about their work of describing, evaluating, and predicting phenomena. It aims to give the work plan of research, and it provides training in choosing methods, materials, scientific tools, and techniques relevant to the solution of the problem. So I think most of these points actually I discussed in some or other way. So we can move to the next point, next slide. So what is the objective of a research? So objective of the research to gain familiarity or achieve a new insight towards a certain topic. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that it's not necessary that you do a research uh, in your own area or in some advanced area of a new thing, or some existing thing. But if you are not familiar with any phenomena, such as if you are a mechanical engineer and you want to get familiar with some phenomena of this electrical engineering. Okay, for example, if you say that how this variable frequency drive works. Okay, how the if you control the RPM of a motor by changing the frequency of the current. Okay, so how it works and what are the different things. So if you don't have any background of that, still you can go and you can learn that thing. You can invest your time and you can try and understand that thing. So that 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 is also a research. But if you already have some very good knowledge about that, and if you want to do some advanced studies, or if you want to try some new methods or new things on any particular topic, then that is also research. So research is not just limited to uh, the very advanced areas, but some basic research is also there. So towards a certain topic, so some new insight, if you can report, some new insights, or if you can report some new ideas or new observation, or if you can explain the same phenomena with some different angle, then that is actually the objective of the research. The another very important, I'm not saying that this is the most important, but this is another very important objective of the research, is to verify and test important facts. Okay, now suppose you have done some experiments and you have reported some results. Now if I cannot verify those results, then there is no meaning of your actually of your research or of your work. So all your research experiments or research methods or whatever simulation studies, whatever you are doing, it should be, there should be sufficient explanation so that we can reproduce it. Okay, so we can verify your results and we can test the important facts. So that is one thing. The other thing is that you should also be able to verify your results with some existing literature. Okay, verify your results with some existing literature or with some models, with some equations. So somehow your results should make some sense to the research community. Maybe if you tell me something about the computer science or electrical engineering, maybe I'll not get anything. But if you tell me something about mechanical engineering, then I'll have some understanding that okay, this how this is happening. So that should actually make some sense to the research community. To analyze an event, process, or phenomenon, That means if you want to analyze anything, then that is also research. Any event or any process, if you want to do it multiple number of times, or if you want to look at with different angles or different ways by changing some parameters. So suppose if you are studying the bird strike on an aeroplane, right? Then you can study it on different speeds in which the bird is striking. What is the quantum of damage that the bird is causing to the aeroplane? So all those things you can actually report and you can study to identify the cause and effect relationship. So this is also something similar, and to find the solutions to scientific, non-scientific, and social problems. So this is another very important objective of the research. So it should not just be limited to the scientific problems, but it should be actually expanded to the non-scientific or social problems. If you can solve some social issue also, then that is also a good research actually. That's why if you are doing a business, then you do a market survey. Okay, then what type of product is required, what type of what is the target market, okay, what is the area in which I can cover, the market. So all those things are also part of a research actually, but they are not scientific research. So types of research, there are several types. So in today's class, we are just seeing these two types of research. So one is the fundamental research and one is the applied research. So in the fundamental research, actually it focuses on why things happen. Okay, so the fundamental research talks about why things happen. So fundamental, that means something very new or something very basic. So it focuses on one discipline. It involves a descriptive study of the research problem, and it is concerned with generalization and formulating theories. Okay, so any new phenomena if you have observed, or anything that you are not able to understand, then you uh, do your research and you report that somewhere. Then some other researchers, if they are working on the same thing, they will refer to your work and they will see that what you have already done, and they will try and see that what are the things that you missed. Actually, once you start your research, then you will understand all these things in a better way, that you cannot do actually a lot of things, and you cannot do uh, because of your limited time and limited resources, you cannot explain everything. So that's why you narrow down yourself to very specific things. So it's aim to solve the general problems. The fundamental research, the aim of the fundamental research is to solve the general problems. Then comes the applied research, which is more focused on how things happen. Okay. So it takes an interdisciplinary approach, and it makes use of problem solving applications to solve a specific problem, and it aims at finding a solution for an immediate problem, and it deals with practical problem. So basically this is something which is which is a more detailed type of thing, and you should have a very good background of doing any applied research. And most of the time it deals with the practical problems, such as most of the industrial research are applied research, and most of the academic research are the fundamental research. Okay, if you work on an industry problem, they will give you a lot of background and lot of information, and you will be surprised to see that the products that we use in our everyday life, actually all those products are developed after a very long research, and they are the next generation products. So a number of research and number of iterations are done, and a very common example is your mobile phone. Okay, every week or every month you will see some new models coming into the market, and they will claim that we have this new feature, right? So this is a basically a very good example of this industrial research. So this is the types of research. What are the steps of making a good research? So some steps are that first you should raise a question. Okay, if you are just starting your research career, then you should raise a question. Then you should suggest some hypothesis. You should have some understanding that, suppose if you are solving a flow problem or a municipal wastewater problem, then first you raise a question. You first try and understand a problem, actually, that there is a problem and that is something that you want to study. Then you suggest hypothesis, that what is the existing methods and what are the things that you can actually uh, do to change that, or to solve that problem. Then you do a literature review, then you see that what work has been done in that particular area. Then you do a literature evaluation, right? So literature review and literature evaluation means it can be simply understood at like you can understand it in the way that you are studying like 100 papers in the literature review, and you narrow down yourself to 10 papers in the literature evaluation, that these 10 papers are actually my target papers. Then you acquire data. Okay, so you acquire data with some experiments or with some simulations or with some other methods. If it is a, if you're solving a social problem, then you take surveys and feedback and all those things. Then you perform the data analysis. You try and analyze that the data that you acquired, okay, through experiments or simulations or other methods. And then you perform the data interpretation. So data interpretation means you try and guess some trends or some some observation, some systematic observation. Suppose the pressure is changing in a pipe, then how this pressure is changing with respect to the flow rate, or how the pressure is changing with respect to the pipe diameter. So all those things you do in the data interpretation thing. And then you prepare the research reports. So these are some of the steps actually for making a good research. So for good research study, it should be systematic. Okay, it should be logical. It should make some sense. Uh, in some discussions, one day some discussion was going on, and somebody said that a lot of water goes into this floods. Okay, in the floods we have a lot of water. Why we are not producing electricity from that flood water? Okay, so actually you cannot produce electricity from that water that is going, that is flooding that thing. So you have to build a dam, and you have to do this. That should be actually systematic. So that should be systematic, and that should be actually logical. So okay, so it should not just, you should not just raise. I mean, you can on your own level you can raise some random questions, but when you are presenting it somewhere, then you should think of that, and you should have some backup, some verification or something should be there as your backup. So it's not like a lot of water is there, and why we are not producing electricity from all the waters, because you cannot actually. It should be empirical. It's not actually necessary that it should be empirical, but it should be something new. Okay, so something which has not been thought of before. And the purpose of the research should be clearly defined. So for a good research study, definitely this is the thing, that what is your motivation of doing that particular research? Okay, what is the application? What are the applications? What is the socio-economic benefits of your research? Okay, so in any ways you can define. So you cannot just simply do a research which is of no use. If you look for a funding and somebody gives you like 50 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees to do some research, and you produce something which is of no use, then it's a waste. So actually you will not get funding for those type of work. So you should have some applications or some ideas in your mind. The research procedure should be well described in detail to permit replication, and this is actually very important thing, and this is something that I just talked also, that you should have sufficient details that your uh, uh, someone can reproduce your work. Or if you're new to any area, and if you are searching some literature, then you should have some idea that if you want to reproduce somebody's work, then you should be able to reproduce actually. That means if you want to do some pipe simulation, for example, and you are getting some velocity profiles and pressure drops, so if you are doing the same experiment, then you should actually get the same velocity profiles and same pressure drops, right? So that is the meaning of this replication, or to reproduce the same results. The design should be planned to yield results that are objective. And for a good research study, actually, this is very important. This is something that I just said, that your research should have some use, right? And it should have some objective, that what will you get from this research? Okay, what is the advantage? What is the applications? So all these things should be there. The researcher must report with complete frankness and flaws. Okay, so it's not like, you should not manipulate your data. If you're not getting anything, suppose if you are getting data points like this, and at some point you are getting this, okay, or say this, then it's not like you can just simply say ki ye galat hai, okay, these 2 points are wrong. So you should not do actually this. So you should be honest in your report, and you should say that though you are expecting this kind of trend, but these some points are not actually, these are far away from this trend. Okay, so this is something that definitely, I mean, you should verify this. It is possible that this is an instrument error, or it is, some kind of error. So if you are doing experiment like 5 times and you are getting 4 times you are getting this data point, then definitely it is not wrong. Okay, so then it is correct actually. So then you should have some explanation that why on this particular x values and on this particular y values this is showing this type of data, or on this particular values this is showing this type of data, which is actually far away from the trend. So you should report your results with complete honesty, complete frankness, and flaws. So you should be very honest in your report. You should not manipulate your data. The analysis of data must be adequate, and the methods of analysis should be appropriate. Okay, so you should follow some, if you want to do some data filtration or anything like that, then you should follow the standard methods that are available. And we should, if you are proposing something on your own, then you should have sufficient background and sufficient solid justification of your proposed theory. Conclusion must be confined to those justifies by the data and limited to those for which data is not adequate. Okay, so definitely if you can justify something, such as for this particular graph, if I just say, then I can say that for 80% of the data actually it is following this trend, but the 20% of data it is not following this trend. Okay, so 20% of the points. So this type of specific conclusion should be there. You can say that as per your understanding you are getting this trend, but you could not explain these 2 points, but this is sure that you are getting these 2 points. So some more experiments or some more new ways of doing this should be tried. So some more new ways should be seen, or some new experiment should be performed. So that is a uh, good research study. So this is the end of this presentation actually. So this was just the introduction class. Maybe I think you have some idea that what this course is about, what are the different things that we will be studying in this course. Uh, so in the next class we will see that how you get motivation for your uh, research and other things. So another thing is that some textbooks are actually there, which are mentioned here in the reference books in your syllabus. The syllabus is the same that is available on the institute website. So you can take a look at some of these books. I think this Chandra and Sharma book is actually good. This Kothari book is quite good. The Kothari book, you can take a look. Okay, so some of these books actually I have not seen all of them, but I have seen like 3-4 of them, and I'm actually also exploring some other literature. But these 2-3 books actually you can take a look. So this is available on the website. Okay, so do you have anything to say, anything to ask, anything to discuss? How do you find this subject? Boring?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, say.
Can you please send this PPT to us?
Yes, I'll definitely, whatever I discuss in my lectures, I'll be sharing all the presentations to you, right? But I don't send it very frequently, but I just try and cover 2 to 3 weeks and then I send it collectively. Okay. So
Okay.
अभी ऐसे week to week तो मैं नहीं भेजता हूँ, but I'll send it 2 to 3 weeks में एक बारी I just send. And I'll send all the slides. So whatever I discuss in the class, I'll be sending these things. Any other thing you want to talk? So I'm basically a faculty in mechanical engineering. You might have seen, and I'll be taking this course for this semester. So, okay. So do you have anything to say, or should I conclude? So in the next week, we will not have class on Monday because Monday is a holiday, which is a holy festival. So we will have class on Wednesday, which is 31st March. Okay, so today is Wednesday, so next class will be there on the next Wednesday. ठीक है, मंडे को तो छुट्टी है, तो छुट्टी को we will not be taking class. So next class Wednesday ko hoga, and all other, the link for all the classes is the same. Okay, so I have actually marked it in my calendar that this is a repetitive class on Mondays and Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:30. So joining link same rahega, and you can, it is expected that you join on time so that disturbance in between can be avoided. Any other thing you want to say? So if nothing, then thank you very much. We will meet in the next class next Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Thank you.